Well, friends, color me surprised. Who would have thought that in a film about World War II Welsh poet Dylan Thomas, that Dylan Thomas would actually be the distraction? That was what I ended up feeling as I dove into The Edge of Love this week. So, this was a film that I think I've seen the poster and I kind of looked at it and go, ooh, I'm intrigued by this. But in a distraction from my 2024 catch up, I've been deep diving into the Kiera Knightley films that I haven't seen. So hopefully talk about a few more of those. But this was one of the ones that jumped out. This is streaming here in the US anyway over on Prime Video. That was where I was able to check that out. So, loose plot synopsis here. The film follows for Dylan Thomas, his wife Catelyn, Vera, a Welsh nightclub singer, and a young officer, William, played by Cillian Murphy, and kind of the complicated relationship between these four people during the tumultuous environment that is England and Wales during World War II. These performances are all going to be good. The primary focus is here between the two women, Sienna Miller, right here, and Kiera Knightley. The men are, like I said, Cillian Murphy and Matthew Rhys as Dylan Thomas. I was immediately clued in at right at the beginning, knowing that this was a Dylan Thomas film, but Matthew Rhys is billed fourth. Granted, I'm struggling to step back into my 2008 brain and who was probably above who and, the star pecking order at this point. And these are four performers that I enjoy, and it actually really frustrates me that Matthew Rhys is kind of essentially fourth importance in the Dylan Thomas film because I actually really like Matthew Rhys. But he gets caught up in the struggle that is acting opposite Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy is stealing scenes like a bandit in this film. So there's a number. It's like a tangle of romantic, personal, friendly, relationships here. These four people's lives kind of intertwine to an intense level, and you watch the complications that ensue. For a long stretch of the film, Murphy's character is away fighting. In those films, the relationships are captivating, particularly between the two women. Sienna Miller and Kiera Knightley work off each other very well. Matthew Rhys gels with that tortured artist portrayal. He almost did something similar recently in Perry Mason. He plays that tortured masculinity from that era very, very, very well. However, towards the end of the second act, Cillian Murphy returns to the film, and this becomes a completely different movie. Murphy's mere presence in this film kind of derails what it has and truthfully makes a more interesting film. Murphy brings Killick's character to the screen as, for lack of a better word, a shell-shocked war veteran. So you've got the presence of these, previous relationships, you've got everything he's experienced, and he just dominates every frame that he's in. He's just so good that this becomes a completely different film. And while I enjoyed the first half of that, I enjoyed kind of where this film goes in the second act even better. But as this narrative takes shape and comes together, Rhys and Sienna Miller kind of become extraneous in the film. They lose their foothold and are really dominated by Knightley and Murphy together as a couple, and it's just a very beautiful examination of certain levels of this time and what was going on culturally, what was going between, you know, couples as the war was ending. So much is slowly being discussed, and there was so much we didn't know kind of in that tail end of World War II. And this was a film that made a very interesting examination of it, I thought. Of course, looked like $1 million. It's got that rose colored nostalgia goggles kind of glow that I, for one, am a sucker for. I will give some warning. You can kind of see down here the rating spread is complicated. And I think I did not click on this one a bit for some of the. There's a lot of lower ratings and there's a lot of vocal lower ratings, especially on Letterboxd. I suppose I can see it, but I really did not find myself bothered throughout the film. I actually really enjoyed this one a lot. So, like I said, The Edge of Love streaming on Amazon Prime here in the States, and definitely one if you're a sucker for period pieces, especially that World War II period piece nostalgia. Definitely add this one to your lists. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me here at Piercing Cinema. Have a good one, all.